Hi guys, I am Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 14 children. My children are from 28 almost down to 2.5, and we are expecting a baby in October. So, I am going to, I guess, talk about some controversial comments. And I'm just going to give my viewpoint on them, and I hope that this is just, I know I don't need to answer people, but I also want people to understand where I'm coming from, and sometimes I feel like if I leave a comment blank, then other people don't see who I really am, even though the first person who wrote the comment was really just doing it to be rude. So, if anyone comes here and wants to just remark about me having a large family, you're going to be deleted, because I think that it's rude just to go onto a channel that you know has a specific lifestyle or something and just to remark how their life stinks. I don't go on to like single channels that have like no children or have one child and say, I grew up as an only child and I think it's rotten what you're doing. Like, that's just rude. So those types of comments will get deleted ASAP, because there's no need for it. You don't go on someplace just to tell somebody that they're rude or you don't like their lifestyle. Just go to a different channel. It's not that difficult. Why would you want to even come to a channel that has a large family, that's apparently a large family, and just to criticize them? I don't think you have much better to do with your life. Anyway, now that we've moved on from the large family thing, things that I have been seeing a lot lately have been related to the cleanliness in my house, and mainly I think that that's because of the canning season. And if I were not doing the Every Bit Counts challenge, I would just bring my jars down every single time. After 24 hours, those jars would go down. After 24 hours, those jars would go down. But I also know that a lot of people wanted to see how much we were actually doing in a said period of time. So a lot of times I was keeping those out for 5 to 7 days so that you could see how much we actually were doing. And yeah, our house is going to be messy. One, we have 12 children, 14 people living in our home. We also do not live in a cookie cutter. This house was just built 2 years ago. Our main part of our house was actually built in 1895. So our walls are not normal drywall. It is actually, the way they used to do things is they would have little slats, and that would be the wall, and then they would plaster the wall over that. Some of our walls are still that plaster with wallpaper over it. Some of our walls are paneling. Some of our walls are just all different types of sorts of things. And a lot of times what you guys probably perceive as dirt is not dirt. It's probably just peeling paint. We need to paint our home roughly every 3 years. So, but we don't just like go through and paint our whole home, because that's not what works for our family. One, it's not affordable for us to paint our whole home. And how do you paint a whole home when you have people living and, breathing in your house? So we basically will take projects on one at a time, just like we were working on the bathroom for a while. We worked on the kitchen for a while, and we will continue doing that. I still need to finish my bathroom. It's not happening before this baby. I was hoping, we have the walls up, so I am thankful for that. We just need to fill in a couple gaps. I want to try to like paint and make it look pretty. Anyway, it's not going to happen before the baby comes. I'm okay with that. We have 2 toilets now. Yay, downstairs. So our life is just going to look different. Our front door is going to have probably face prints on it, handprints on it, because as soon as you wash the windows, the kids are like looking out the window. My windows in my living room, every time I come home, the kids come up to the window and they're like, Mommy, Mommy. I wouldn't change that for the world. I'm okay with that. And I don't care that like, some people don't like my house, that my house is not perfectly clean. I do not want to live in a cookie cutter. 2, a lot of people talk about how dirty and filthy my house is and that I need to worry about cooking food in my environment. Have you seen all the listeria outbreaks? Have you seen how many huge corporations right now? The amount of recalls this year alone is ridiculous. Are you going to those companies and saying, gee, I need to see the cleanliness of your facility because I see that there's this outbreak? No, it takes an outbreak of health and safety for somebody to look at those things. For me, I know if I wiped that counter before I started cooking on it. I don't need to show you that I'm wiping a counter. I do not need to show you that I cleaned my jars. I know that my kids have not gotten sick from my food. How many times do people get food poisoning from going out to eat? I'm not worried about my kitchen. So if somebody's going to comment and say, oh, it's filthy, I would never eat out. Good, I'm glad you wouldn't eat off my kitchen because, with that attitude, you wouldn't be invited in my kitchen. Normally, people are invited in my kitchen because, you know what? That's fun. Hey, come over for a cup of coffee. Sure, come on over. I would invite you guys over for a cup of coffee. Yeah, but if you're going to come in my house and be like, oh, your house is a mess, I don't want coffee from your kitchen. Well, then you don't need to be in my kitchen. So if you don't like it, just scroll on by. If you don't like seeing the way that my house is, scroll on by. But normally, people who cook 3 meals and 3 snacks a day with 14 people in their kitchen is not going to look spotless because it's always revolving. Always something is going on. There is going to be dishes in the sink most of the time if you have 1, no dishwasher, and if you have 2, real meals throughout the day. Because if I just made a soup, which is super easy for me to make, I'm going to have 10 quart jars and a big old pot sitting there. If I did dishes right before then, you guys are still going to see a big old pot and 10 canning jars. That looks like a hot mess. Okay. My cleanliness. Another comment that was asked is why I had a lock on the outside of a bedroom door in my kitchen. Because it's in my kitchen and I'm giving the boys a space that they can lock their siblings out so their stuff doesn't get touched. There's also a baby gate there so that they can have it open. That's why you see it. So they can have it open, they can have a breeze go through and whatever, but they also have a lock on the outside that if they want to, they can lock their stuff out and nobody can get in there. And that's like off limits. They need to invite people into their bedroom. I feel like your bedroom is a personal space, and if it's your bedroom, then you need to invite people into your bedroom. If that's something that you want. But honestly, we don't usually like play in our bedrooms. We usually are playing or doing different things in different parts of the house, not in bedrooms. Another question. Totally lost it. My girls. A lot of people see my girls and then they're like, they don't have a life. They don't do anything. They are slaves to me. You guys are so far from wrong. Just because I don't show you intricate parts of each of my children's lives outside of what I am doing for my YouTube channel does not mean that they don't have lives. All of my children have friends outside of this house. Some of my children work outside of the home. Some of my children are involved in outside activities. Some of my children even go out of state without me. I can't even believe it. My children don't need their lives. You guys don't have to approve of my older children's lives. You don't. You don't need to know everything that's going on in their day-to-day. You don't need to know what they do for work. You don't need to know what they're doing for schooling or education. You don't need to know that because it's really none of your business. I'm here sharing what I feel comfortable sharing, and that's where I am right now. So for you to assume, which a lot of these comments are assumptions, for you to assume that my children don't do anything and that they don't have lives and that they're my personal slaves is a massive assumption. On the flip side, then I get other people that say, I can't believe that you're letting that we don't require our children to have their own vehicles. Well, we are very blessed. We bought a van years ago. So we have 3 vehicles and my husband has a work truck. How many vehicles can I drive in a day? I feel blessed by that. So because I have that, if they want to use the other vehicles to do what they need to do, like if they need other vehicles to go to work, if they need other vehicles, whatever it might be, at this stage, at this point, why not have them save money in order to be able to save for themselves? Another thing is, well, they don't contribute to your household. How do you know that? How do you know that I don't get money from my children to contribute towards certain things? Did you ask me? Did you ask my children? And then if I said, yes, some people do, then other people are going to come around and they're going to say, oh my goodness, she just lives off of her children. So I don't say either way how it works in our household. But what we do works for everyone. I think the biggest thing with older people is having a relationship with them so you can talk with them and not just demand of them what you desire and what you think. I want my children to have a relationship with me so that we can discuss things, tiny things, big things, whatever might be going on, and we can work out a solution to the problem together if needed. Anyway, another question. I get this a lot. Oh, because you have that many children, then you must get food stamps, WIC, Medicaid, I don't know, some sort of assistance. Because you do those things, then you must get those things. I don't think that because I have a certain amount of children means one or the other. I just want to give, and I'm not going to answer that question because I don't want anyone to ever feel like they cannot get assistance because I said this or this. Because if you need assistance, I want people to go and get assistance so they can get some help, especially in times like this because times are tough. I think that it should just be okay. Like, people also ask me, where's my husband? My husband's working. My husband's out there working sometimes 12 to 14 hours a day. And so I think that it's really funny that people are like, where's your husband? He's never on your YouTube videos, but yet you must be living off the state. Okay, let's just think about this real quick, this whole living off the state type thing. I homeschool, right? We pay taxes. We pay every type of taxes because, you know, we like to get taxed. Our funds, our taxes, go to the public school department. If your child's in public school, your grandchild or whatever is in public school, that means that your child is taking money from our tax money. Do I walk up to people and be like, you go to public school and you're taking our money because your child goes to public school? No, that's just silly. It's silly. That is how funds have been allocated, right? So my job, my duty is to pay my taxes because God says that we're supposed to do that. So that's what we do. We pay our taxes and we pay on time. Another thing is in other countries, some people get child benefits, right? And that just automatically comes regards to different incomes or not even different incomes in a lot of places. Actually, right over the border, we live like right on the Canadian border, and people said, if you lived just a mile up this way, then you guys would get child tax benefits. You'd never have to work. Anyway, people receive those things because that's the way the government decides to allocate money, and that's not looked down upon, or that's not frowned upon. I just think that the questions are not thought all the way through. I buy my children's curriculum. I buy my children's supplies. I buy all that stuff. I don't ask the government to buy those things. But yet at the same time, if people have children going to public school, I'm not having an issue like, oh, your child's in public school. I can't, like, whatever. It's just ridiculous. Another thing is I think in one of my videos, I had mentioned that I was sending one of my children to the food pantry. And so because I said that, people assumed that we were doing whatever. The whole food pantry issue is, this is how things work. Places like Walmart and other grocery stores have an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables. Those are donated to the food pantry. Years ago, I used to volunteer at the food pantry a lot. And I used to take one child at a time, and that was a good like volunteer activity to do with that child, and they learned a lot from that. So I used to volunteer at the food pantry, but they also knew that we had animals. So to save the food pantry from throwing away rotten food, they donate us rotten food in order to feed our pigs. So my children pick up, actually we all pick up on certain days, we pick up food to be given to our pigs. Just like people go to Dunkin' Donuts and ask them for their day-old donuts to give to their animals, we do that with the food pantry. And the main reason that we really enjoy the food pantry is because almost all of it is rotten produce. So my pigs are actually getting a really good diet because they're having rotten produce. They're not having, and that isn't our whole diet. It just kind of like supplements the animals that we have a little bit, and it helps them because then they don't have to pay for the cost of like disposal fees if they were to throw it in a dumpster, because they would need a bigger dumpster instead of us feeding it to our animals and then we throw the packaging away. So it works out both ways. Another question that gets either asked or commented about is that my children don't always have smiles on their faces. I'm sorry, I'm talking to you right now. Like, I'm not smiling. I'm just talking. Like, I don't need to do this. It's just silly that somebody would walk around with a smile on their face a lot of times. Especially when I'm doing things, a lot of times we're in the middle of something else. So it's just weird to have a smile on your face all the time. And if you're one of those really bubbly, happy people that are always happy and pretend that you're never not happy, then I'm sorry, because we're not that way. We're real people. Okay, got that one done. My daughter's laughing at me. We're real people. We're living a real life. I am not putting on a movie or a show. I am just showing you my life. I am not casting out my children, which a lot of people on YouTube and stuff do. They like put together this huge like fake production of, oh, look what we're doing. No, it's the real life here. Yeah, totally real life. So you're going to see dirty house. You're going to see dirty kids. You're going to see real kids. You're going to see real house. You're going to see life. Real life. I'm trying to think. There's another one. Do you plan on having more kids? That is completely up to the Lord. I am totally open to having more children. I am also older. So whenever the Lord decides that we are done, then I will be okay with that, because that is God's will. and I just want to be in his ultimate will and his ultimate plan. I am going to go over, I already did the video where I discuss modesty, and so that will be a separate video. So if the questions or comments were around modesty, that will be in that. As far as the baby goes, I'm going to do a separate video as far as the baby goes, and some things that I saw down in the comments regarding the baby. That will be a separate video. But I wanted to mention is we also, in case you haven't figured this out, are a very active family. So we are constantly having things out in order to give our kids experiences. So having yarn out, or having wool out, or having crafts out. I don't want a sterile house. I don't want a sterile environment. It's not good for you mentally, physically. It's not good for you. Let your kids have experiences. Let your kids get dirty. Yeah. Anyway. So those are a couple of the questions that we get asked. I can't think offhand of any more of the questions. I should have actually written things down, and I didn't. So those are the questions that I believe are the ones that needed to get addressed or answered, because those I get a lot. I get the, yeah, those are the ones I get a lot. So if you have any like real honest questions, I may or may not answer them, because if I feel that it's too personal, then I might not answer it, because yes, I'm on YouTube. Yes, I put myself out there, but I'm still allowed to be me. I'm still allowed to have guidelines, and you should do the same. On social media, you can say how much people get to know about you and how much people don't get to know about you. I honestly am very real, so this is me. I'm pretty real. This is who I am in real life. I'm going to be bluntly honest about certain things, and sometimes I'm going to hold back a little bit, because I feel like the person asking the question probably is just asking just to be critical. Oh, I think the other thing that was kind of discussed or asked, or I've gotten some really weird comments about my soap videos. And I honestly do not understand, like, why would you watch a soap video just to say that I was weird for making my own soap? I don't understand that. Personally, we do not put chemicals, or try not to put chemicals in and on our bodies. So we're doing that for our own personal health. If you want to smear yourself with chemicals, I'm totally okay with that. I'm just giving people the option that if they don't want to, that they can do something else. And for one person who says that using a bar of soap is disgusting, yeah, it's soap. Everyone used a bar of soap until somebody created body wash. It's okay. And if you touch another person, if you touch your husband, and you touch your children, and you guys are using the same bar of soap, you're rinsing the soap off. I don't know. I just don't know. If it's not your thing, then it's not your thing. Just like move on. Like, can you not use a different face cloth from your husband? Can your children not use different face cloths? Anyway, I don't know. That was another odd question. So what was said was basically that we were dirty because we used the same bar of soap. Anyway, if that's not your thing, then don't do it. So, oh yes, the other one is actually a really serious question, and I don't think people realize this. All soap has lye in it. Even soaps at the store. Actually, the FDA does not approve anything that does not have lye in it to be a soap, because lye actually causes the sponification that makes soap. They just do not need to write that on the label, because it's a given that it's like you don't have to you don't have to write water on a label unless there's a certain amount of water in your product, then you have to label water. So lye is similar to that, but you can look it up. The FDA will not approve a soap that does not have lye in it. If not, it would just be fat and water, and that's not what we want to clean our bodies with. So there is no alternative to lye soap because all soap has lye in it. So either you're making your lye soap, even melt and pour soaps, the lye process has already been done. You're pretty much like reheating the soap in order to put it into a mold. That's what a melt and pour type soap is. So that was an honest question. I know a lot of people don't realize that. And that's just like, I'm just saying that one to clarify to people that all soap has lye in it. And I know it's scary, but it's not as scary as you think that it might be. Like, I've been splashed with lye on numerous occasions, and honestly, all I do is like put vinegar on my arm and then wash it off. And I've never like burned a hole through my skin or burned my eyeballs out or anything like that. Basically, I think the worst thing that ever happened when I splashed a lot was I had a red mark for a couple days, just like if you touched like a hot stove. So if you're interested in doing lye, when my kids were younger, I would just do it when they were in bed. It doesn't take very long. Most of my videos that I have on here are actually like timed. Like, I haven't really fast forwarded them. A couple of them I did, but really, you know, half an hour and you have soap made. So I hope that that blesses you, that you're able to like try those things out if it's something that you want to do. And I only add natural ingredients into it, as in essential oils and good fats and that type of stuff. And there is a ton of chemicals in our body products. So that is why we have stepped away from all those chemicals in order to produce our own body type stuff. So I hope y'all have a blessed and wonderful day.